Hey, I'm Kylie, former NICU travel nurse and founder of Passports and Preemies, and you're listening to Clocked Out, Life Beyond the Bedside. This podcast is for nurses who are ready to ask, what else is out there for me? Each week, we dive into what it means to thrive as a nurse beyond the hospital walls through conversations about burnout, alternative careers, travel, financial freedom, and wellness. Whether you're deep in burnout or just craving more freedom, you're in the right place. It's time to redefine what life after clocking out really looks like. Hi, guys, and welcome back to Clocked Out. Today, I have such an exciting episode for you. I am talking with Jess, who is like my main travel nurse recruiter. I'm obsessed with her. I'm sure that you've seen her all over my social media in the past. Like, she's truly was such a gift to me when I was a travel nurse. I think I've shared this before. But basically, like when I started my travel nurse journey, I didn't like the recruiter that I was working with. And then I worked with another recruiter who I disliked even more. And then I wanted to quit travel nursing because of this. And instead, I ended up finding Jess, and her and I stuck together for, oh my gosh, so many years, so many contracts. And I have nothing but good things to say about her. Our conversation was a little bit different today because I feel like we've done that the whole like, "Oh, what should you know about being a travel nurse? Tell me how you get paid." And I just wasn't in the mood to rehash all of that, and instead, I kind of wanted to talk about the fantasy versus reality of being a travel nurse, and so we did talk about some pretty it was some deep stuff, but also just, like, negative aspects of travel nursing, and I always appreciate Jess's candor and her honesty, and it was, like, such a fun conversation. We talked about the hospital that she would avoid. If I paid her $10,000 a week to work there, she was like, "Would not work at this hospital." We talked about what states you should avoid as a travel nurse. We talked about travel nurse horror stories, what her worst experience was with the travel nurse. We've talked about, just all kinds of things like travel nurses that thrive on assignment versus those who don't. And it's just kind of a different look at the industry and what you can expect as a travel nurse. And I feel like this is a really good episode for anyone who is looking to get into travel nursing. I hope that it doesn't scare anybody off, but it is a very real conversation. And it felt like her and I were just like sitting at lunch, shooting the shit, I guess, and just hanging out, which made it really fun. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. Hi, Jess. I'm so excited to chat with you today. And today, you guys were talking about something a little bit different because I feel like we have for years talked about travel nursing, what people want to know about travel nursing, bill rates, everything about the. I cannot think of one single question to ask you that I have not asked you 7,000 times about travel nursing. So we decided that we're gonna do a little like fantasy versus reality when it comes to travel nursing. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't want it to scare anybody, but I want to ask you questions like that we need an insider scoop. In your experience, what parts of travel nursing live up to the hype and what parts of travel nursing do not live up to the hype?
I think the actual traveling obviously lives up to the hype, and being able to have that flexibility with taking time off in between assignments like that totally lives up to the hype. But I also think on the flip side, a lot of people don't realize how much it takes to pick up and move every 13 weeks. So a lot of times it is almost easier for people to extend after they've been traveling for a little bit just
Mhm.
because they are just over trying to find a new assignment, picking up, packing everything, leaving. It's just a big time commitment, and it's, I think, more exhausting than people realize.
I 100% agree with that. In the beginning of my travel nurse journey, I was so excited to always take a new assignment. And then towards the end, I just wanted to stay where I was.
Mhm.
And the downside also was that I wanted to take a break between contracts. But then it's like, well, what if I wanna go to Europe for a month, but I don't wanna pay this crazy rent that they're charging me as a travel nurse?
Right.
So I still felt like even if I extended, I had to move all my stuff out and then move back in, and I think that that really led to travel nurse burnout.
100%.
So I agree. That's like a good and a bad thing for sure.
Right.
What do you find surprises first time travelers the most once they take their first travel nurse assignment?
I think what surprises people the most is the orientation. It's pretty short. Normally it's a week or, in the first couple days you're doing some stuff online and then you're on the unit just for 2 or 3 days. And some hospitals have it down pat and the orientation's great and they learn everything that they need to learn. But then there's other times it's, I don't want to say smaller hospitals, but a lot of times it's the smaller hospitals that kind of throw you in and they're like, all right, you know everything, right? You're good to go, right? And then that's not every time, but a lot of times I'll get calls like, Jess, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to be on the unit by myself. So normally I just have people talk to their manager and say, hey, I need one more day because patient safety is a huge
Mhm.
deal, right? And the last
Mhm.
thing I want is for someone to be on the unit that doesn't know where anything's at, what they're doing, and
Mhm.
put their license and a patient at risk.
So in that case, do you advocate for the nurse? Because I've never felt like I've had to call a recruiter and tell them something like that. So then how does that work? Do you get in touch with the manager or
There are
what
times
happens?
where we are able, yeah, there's times that we're able to contact the manager, and then there's other times that we can't, and we have to reach out to a contact. And so we just let our contact know,
Mm,
who lets the manager know. But
mhm.
that's why I always have a traveler speak to the manager about it. If there's any pushback, that's when we like to get involved because they don't have their best interest in mind if they don't allow it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So normally, I
totally.
honestly, I have not had it become an issue though. Most of the time, managers are like, yes, like you can have another day of orientation or shadow somebody, or it's normally not a
Mhm.
huge deal.
Have you ever placed a nurse at an HCA hospital?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was staff at an HCA hospital, and it was the biggest nightmare of my life, and I just think that HCA is, like, chronically known to just understaff and underpay and, like, whatever, but we used to give our travel nurses 4 hours of orientation, and that's it.
Oh my gosh. Nope. Yeah,
Is
I
that not
haven't had that happen.
crazy?
I have not had that happen. But yes, that is absolutely
I
insane.
the nurses like that stay are the nurses that don't give a fuck and, like, they're cool. I was
Right.
brand new, and I would be struggling so hard, like, putting an NG tube down, and the travel nurses would be like, "Okay, let me do it," and they'd do it in, like, 1 second, and I feel like they're
They're
still
just
my
like the
heroes.
badass
Like
nurses that just don't give a shit. They only
yes,
gave me 4 hours of orientation, but I'll figure it out. Like, I'm used to it.
and not every nurse has that personality or can handle that, but the ones
Mhm.
that can, you know that they're, like, they can manage in a crisis, like, they're
They're
fine.
baddies. They're baddies. They're like, "I got it. Don't
Ex
worry about it."
yes, that's the word. That's the word that I am looking for, totally. Okay, still keeping it real, what are some red flags that travelers might not know to look for in their contract?
I think certain things that you wanna look for, like how certain companies will break down pay. So I don't know if this is
Okay,
necessarily like in
okay.
the contract, but in a pay package, if you compare Fusion's pay package to another pay package, I can't tell you how many times it honestly drives me up a wall sometimes, but I'll have people that are saying, well, this company is paying more. I'm like, well, you need to look at take home pay, not the pay before taxes. It's
Mhm,
completely different. And a lot of times certain companies will make their pay packages look super fancy and they'll be like, "Oh, it's $30,000 for the entire contract." But when you break everything down, you're going to be making
mhm.
$500 less a week than what I'm paying you. They're just making it look
Yeah,
pretty. Something that I like about Fusion too is just no bullshit. And
mhm,
I mean, not every recruiter is going to be like that. And you can ask the recruiter to break it down. But a lot of times when people are comparing pay packages, they're not going to call recruiter A and then call recruiter B and have them break it down for them. So if you have your main chick and your side chick, if your side chick's sending you
mhm,
jobs and the pay is high, quote unquote higher, then send it to me. Let's look at it. Let's get the breakdown
mhm,
together. And that's a big thing. Another thing in the contract itself is make sure that you're looking at the guaranteed hours. A lot of times,
mhm. Yeah,
most,
big one.
yeah, most hospitals don't have guaranteed hours anymore. A lot of times it's like they can cancel 2 shifts
Oh,
or they're
really?
I mean, some do, but most it's like can cancel 2 shifts for 13
Okay.
weeks. A bigger one is Banner. It's once every week. A lot of times people aren't getting canceled, but I always tell people there is that chance that you can get canceled.
Mhm.
Just the risk that you're willing to take, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, guaranteed hours is well, when I was a travel nurse, it was pretty I mean, it was common, I think, but that's just for those of you who don't know, it just means that even if you're called off of work and you don't go in, you still get paid no matter what.
Right.
And then also to clarify this main chick, side chick thing, Jess and I have said, and like, I literally, this was 2018. I remember you
Mhm.
said, we did an Instagram live and you said you need your main chick. So, like, your main recruiter and then your side chick. So, like, a side recruiter. And I mean, I agree with you on that because you are always my main, but I did go with other people at times because maybe, like, Fusion didn't have a contract or,
Mhm.
just things worked out that way, which was always unfortunate to me because I would always complain to you during my side, like, "I hate this recruiter, like, I wanna come back to you."
I know. That is honestly, it breaks my heart every time that happens. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'm not mad, right? If you take an assignment somewhere else,
Yeah,
like definitely not mad. It just breaks my heart a little bit that I didn't have
yeah,
that job. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we had fun. It was a great time.
Oh, yeah, we had fun. We did have fun. Wow.
We still have fun.
I think we have blossomed into friends,
Right.
so that's been a
Love it.
nice change. I feel like a lot of travel nurses have unrealistic expectations when it comes to pay, right?
Mhm.
And I would personally blame that on COVID when rates were like $10,000 a week.
Yeah.
But in your opinion today, like, what's a realistic amount of money to be made when the world is not on fire? And also knowing that there are so many factors to this,
Right.
just what's a realistic take home pay?
I would say on the low end right now, around 1,800 a week. High end. So, and I don't want to say this number because people are like, oh, I want 3,000 a week. But like, so Stanford, for instance,
Yeah.
their rates are the highest in the country currently. And there's a website called Vivian, and people will apply to jobs through Vivian. And I would say 99% of
Mhm.
the people that apply for these jobs, they're applying for the Stanford jobs. And they're, some are
Okay.
over 3,000 take home a week. Same with Kaiser. There's some that are a little bit higher on that end as well. But I would say like typical high end, I think if you're working like 40 hours, I would say 26 to 2,700. If you're an OR nurse, I see higher rates in CVOR, like even higher than that. But generally, I would
Mhm.
say between 1,800 and 21 to 2,500, depending if you're in California or not.
Yeah. I started travel nursing in 2016, and my take home at that time was 1,300. So when I ended, it was the highest I'd ever gotten paid, and it was 3,200, I believe,
Hmm.
which was rare at the time, I think. But I mean, that's a huge jump, but it wasn't still, it's hard to say because it's like that was 7 years of difference, and
Right.
1,300 is low, but it was still feasible. Like, I don't, I don't know. It's like I don't know how to put it.
Housing was lower back then, and travel nursing wasn't so like in your face that it was a thing, right? Like it was
Mhm.
more behind the scenes, like when
Yeah.
I first started. So people that were renting out, their, I don't even know, Furnish Finder was a thing when I started
No,
recruiting.
I don't think it was. There was like nothing was a thing when I started.
Right. So we're all over Facebook pages trying to find housing
Yeah.
that way. I had people looking on Craigslist still when I started. And so I
Yeah.
don't think people, I mean, just the housing market in general was just completely different. When the rates were a little bit lower, the housing was lower. It was 100% feasible. It's crazy that you say 1,300 because I'm like, geez, jeez, it sounds so low now. But, you know, kind of kind of reverting back to the question though, I think that people, I mean, right now, most people are not traveling for pay, right? The rates are not as
Yeah.
high as we want them to be. And just the economy right now is just expensive. It's crazy. It's heavy. Like
Mhm.
everything is just lame, to be completely honest. Like that's the best way. It just bleh.
I agree with what you're saying, and I think I'm so annoyed at housing companies that COVID, increased housing prices because everybody knew travel nurses were making 10 grand a week, and I don't feel like anybody has brought their property back down, and whether that's because, like, they're used to travel nurses paying a lot or it's the economy, I don't know, but I get mad at the housing industry too that it's
Right.
not as affordable.
Right. And I feel like the people that have had the best experience are people that are like, I just want to travel. Whether you're an empty
Mhm,
nester, you've wanted to travel since you started school. Like the people that are having the best time are the people that are strictly in it to see the country. If I were a traveler, like F it. I want to see the country. If you don't have anything tying you down,
mhm.
you should go. At least for one contract and
Yeah.
stay PRN where you're at.
No, I agree with that. I got into travel nursing for the travel, and I'm really happy about that, and at the end, it became about the money, and it made it much less fun. I feel like I was just kind of a bitter person about it. I think the people that just do it to travel, that's the best case scenario.
Right. Those are my favorite travelers to talk to. Like when I first start, I'm like, yes,
Oh, yeah, I'm
I'm gonna
sure.
place you. This is gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the flip side, like you don't want to tell a recruiter a lot. I mean, you can tell me I'm not gonna do that, but some recruiters will take advantage of
Yeah.
that and just be like, oh, she's not in it for pay. Just don't necessarily say that you're only
Yeah.
in it for pay or only in it to travel. You don't care about pay because that's when they'll be like,
Mhm.
ooh, let me take a giant margin on them so I can make a bunch of money.
Yeah. Well, I think I've told you, but I did do that. I worked with a recruiter at Medical Solutions, and I was like, "I don't care. I just wanna travel." I did 3 or 4 assignments with her, and I was the lowest paid every single time, and it was so annoying, but I was, like,
Mhm.
too big of a scaredy cat to find a different recruiter. I would've made in that time at least $10,000 more because I think I did 4 assignments
Wow.
with her, and I remember I was about $200 a week under everybody else.
Jeez.
So if I
That's
did
a
the
slap
math
in the
right,
face.
that's, like, almost 10 gr I know, and one time we had to do this 8-hour orientation day and nobody got paid, and then I learned that all of the other travel nurses got paid, and my recruiter sent me a necklace. Like,
Thank you? Question mark?
and at the time no, at the time, I thought it was so nice. I was like, "Oh, she feels bad that I had to sit in 8 hours and not get paid," and now I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right." Like, she for sure took the money and then just, like, bought me a necklace,
Right.
like
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
So, getting canceled or getting your assignment cut short is, like, in my opinion, one of my worst fears and one of the scariest parts of travel nursing.
Right.
In a perfect world, obviously, this would never happen, and out of all of the assignments I did, I only got mine cut short 1 time. But but how can travel nurses financially protect themselves in the event that your assignment is canceled or cut short?
Just have savings. Like a couple grand if you can before you start traveling because it does happen. I feel like cancellations go in waves. So there'll be times where we don't see any, and then
Mhm.
when COVID hit, half my desk got canceled. And that was like, I got bitch
That was
slapped.
me.
Like, it was awful. I could go on a rant and a tangent about it, but it was awful. But then obviously it blew up and things went crazy. But then it came a time like when
Mhm.
rates started to drop again around 2023 and people started getting canceled or their rates started getting cut, that type of stuff. And a few months ago, I had a couple people get canceled just for stupid stuff like low census, but they didn't even like I had a girl. This was 2 weeks ago. She interviewed, offered, signed the contract. The next morning, they canceled her contract. She didn't even get to start compliance, and they said it was low census. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? Why did you waste everybody's time? Like, you didn't know that yesterday? Like
Yeah.
12 hours ago? I don't know.
No, literally, yeah. Yeah, did you just discharge like 15 patients? It makes no sense.
Not at all. And they didn't even extend anybody that, didn't want to extend previously. Like they just said it was low census. And then get this, a week later, they were like, hey, we actually want
They
her.
opened it.
Yeah. No, they said, would
Stop.
she reconsider? I go, are you like, I'll ask. Well, are you kidding me? Like, it's
Did
just,
she?
no.
Did
She's
she
like,
do it?
no. She's like, no. Because she already had locked down housing that night before and whatever. And it was a pretty remote place in Oregon. And so it was hard to find housing. Not like it changed within a week. I don't think anyone took the housing, but I wouldn't want to take that risk. I wouldn't want to be like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, they're going to keep me. But I don't know. So cancellations go up and down. They happen sometimes. Just try to keep a little bit of savings in case your housing charges you some sort of fee. But around like 10% of the time, hospitals will allow us to charge them a fee and we can pay that fee to the traveler. So if you are ever canceled, I would ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. I would expect that the answer would be no, but at least ask if the agency is allowed to charge a fee for canceling the contract. Because like if they cancel it and it's under that 2-week threshold, sometimes they'll give a 2-week cancellation notice.
That's something in the industry that I would really like to see changed, but I mean,
Almost like
until
cancellation
something
insurance.
big
Like you can pay
happens.
extra into it. Maybe like
Yeah.
cancellation
Oh,
insurance is
that's
something like that happens because it
smart.
doesn't happen all the time. $1 million idea.
Yeah, you should petition Fusion.
I totally
Yeah.
should.
Okay. Well, I feel like we were talking about this earlier, saying how we went from recruiter nurse to like friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you're the kind of recruiter that makes friends easily and makes friends with the nurses that you place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what stories relating to like the hospital or staff have travel nurses shared with you that would be like a horror story? For instance, actually, this happened to me. Like, oh my God, it was when I took my assignment in Boston and I was working with you. And I would go on my lunch break, and the nurses in the lunchroom would literally not. I would ask a pointed question to one of them, and they would not speak to me. Like, it was the weirdest thing. They just acted like I
I
was a
remember
ghost.
that. I remember that on your assignment. Weren't they just kind of like off for a while? Like
Yeah,
you
they
like
were.
brought them like donuts or something on your last day, right? You brought them something for your last
Yeah,
day.
I think I brought M&Ms. I always would take something, usually donuts, but I was like, "These little snooty
Brought M&M.
biatches don't deserve me to spend my money on donuts, so I'm bringing them
Oh
M&Ms."
God.
Yeah.
The worst kind.
So I took
It's
the
like
best
plain
kind, I
M&Ms.
took the peanut butter. I took peanut butter, it's the best.
Oh,
But I
yum.
should have taken no, the worst are pretzel M&Ms.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting. The biggest horror stories, I would say, it's just like cattiness. Some nurses are just not nice. And I think it's just, I don't know, you could probably tell me, but I don't know if it's a jealousy thing of travelers. They think travelers make so much more money. I mean, a lot of travelers will get a higher caseload if they are travelers. And then, there's nurses that are sitting back and doing nothing, but they're still getting paid the same kind of thing. That's honestly the bulk of it. I feel like I heard a lot more horror stories during COVID. Doesn't it feel like COVID's kind of like a blur sometimes? I'm trying to think back to that time and I can't remember everything that happened.
It feels so distant that when I'm like, "Oh, it was 5 years ago," I don't know, that, like, 5 years doesn't seem as distant as it feels in my brain.
Right.
Like, 2019, even 1 year prior to COVID, that to me feels like a different world, like a different lifetime.
Right. I mean, that was when my firstborn. I came back from maternity leave 2 weeks before COVID hit. And it was just like,
Oh,
it was
shit.
awful. It truly feels like it was forever ago. And now my son, he's going to be 6 this year. So it really
Oh.
was a whole lifetime ago. It's weird.
It is weird, but I think some nurses can be jealous. They think that travel nurses are getting paid so much more, and I can see how that would be frustrating, but it's like, you could also be a travel nurse. Like, nobody's stopping you.
Right.
This is the life that this person chose. You don't need to be snotty about it.
Right.
But I kind of think, I mean, I obviously have not worked in another profession really, but I wonder because it's a predominantly female career, which
Hmm.
that pains me to say, but does this happen in corporate America where people are so mean to other people? I have no idea, but it's very annoying.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I had a leadership training yesterday and the day before, and we were talking about predominantly female offices and professions and stuff like that. And it does tend to be more catty. And I feel like it's gotten better. I feel like a lot of girls are trying to lift each other up, be girls, and all of that stuff
Mhm.
compared to 10 years ago, which is great. I think it's just one of those things that you just can't totally avoid, right?
Yeah.
I just hope that when people do travel, they just go in with positive attitude and just kill people with kindness. I know you did that. Like you would just kill people with kindness, even if they weren't
Mhm.
nice to you. And I feel like you had
Yeah.
mostly pretty good experiences with everything, with all of the assignments, anyways.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, overall, I had negative in San Francisco and in Boston, but everything else was great. So,
Right.
are there any hospitals that you've heard repeatedly bad things about from your travelers? And if so, can you tell us the name of the hospital?
I don't know if I can. Can I? Can I get in trouble for
But
that?
okay, well, I think you can. Okay, is there a hospital in mind?
So, yeah, there is a hospital in mind, but there's a positive at the end. When I first started, I heard a lot of negatives, and I'll find out if I can even say this, but you can cut it out if not. But at first, it was Cape
Okay.
Fear. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, Cape Fear is so bad. It's awful. It's awful.
Wait,
It's awful."
where is that?
It's in North Carolina. I actually have someone there now, and she really likes it. And actually, one of my friends here in Omaha, she actually moved out to New Mexico, but she was perm there, loved it. Like I've heard a lot of people that actually like it a lot. And I think that I have the most negative reviews just as a whole, as a chunk, would be just hospitals in Florida, which most of them are HCA. But I would say Florida, like I would never go. Can I get in trouble for this? I don't know. I don't think I'd ever want to get hurt or go to a hospital in Florida.
Oh, I had a friend who was a NICU nurse who did a travel nurse assignment in Miami, and, like, the things that she told me were wild, like,
Really?
it's stories that you think yeah, it's like, "Oh, that's not true. That wouldn't happen." When people say there's malpractice or, like, the nurses were neglecting you or the doctors,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm kind of like, "No, that's not a thing," and then the things she said about this place was just bananas, like, beyond. I can't even put it into words. It didn't feel like the United States of America, the things that she would say.
Right.
So, if you're gonna place a nurse in North Carolina at the hospital you said, or in Florida, do you warn them? Like, "I've heard bad things." Do you
Oh,
prep
yeah.
them, or are you just kinda like, "Oh,
Good
yeah, I
luck.
figured you would."
No, I definitely
Yeah.
so the last thing I want is someone walking into a hospital, they have no idea, like, what they're walking into. Like, if I have heard bad things, I will say, "Hey, here's this facility. It's in your dream location. It's where you wanna go." But I have
Mhm.
had people say this, that, and the other about the facility. "Do you still want me to
Mhm.
submit to this job?" And then
Yeah.
people will tell me. There's so many freaking hospitals that I've been here over 9 years that I still haven't placed at, and it's sometimes you just don't know. So, just try to do your due
Right.
diligence and look stuff up. But again, you have to take some things with a grain of salt too, because some travelers like to just spread negative information. Not just travelers, just nurses in general. And some hospitals get a really bad rap when they
Yeah.
are actually great facilities.
I feel like I have a personality that if somebody said it's not a good place to work, I wouldn't let that deter me if it's a place I wanted to go or it's good pay. So, I mean, it doesn't matter how many people would tell me, like, that's a bad location. I would probably not avoid it.
I
So
feel like you're at baddie status though. Like you're like, I got it. You are
oh
up there
oh
and you'd be
my
like, yeah, I got it.
god.
Like it's fine. I'll figure it out.
Do you think I'm like the nurses at the HCA hospital that we only train for 4
Yeah.
hours?
I feel like you're baddie status because you would be like, it's fine. I
I
got it.
will.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
And
that's
that comes with
true, that is
experience, right?
true.
Like you were a nurse for a long time.
Yeah. What are some unrealistic expectations that nurses have for recruiters?
So not all of them, but there's, as a traveler, you are out there on your own, right? And it gets lonely.
Mhm.
Not me personally. I don't have anybody that is working with me right now that's like this, but there are certain travelers that lean on their recruiter almost too much in a personal
Mhm.
way. I've heard stories, and there's a traveler that is calling a recruiter every single night when she gets off to like
Yeah.
talk. We
Yeah.
love to be there for our travelers as much as possible. It's a very hard line, right? So there's a point where you have to divide it. And I think it's easy to get blurred, right? Especially if you really get along with your recruiter.
Mhm.
But I think
Mhm.
that is one of those expectations that's very hard for some people, especially when you're alone, right? Another thing I would say, some travelers expect recruiters just to do everything for them, like enter their time
Yeah.
for them. And yeah, I get it. Entering time is a pain in the ass. It sucks to have to do it at the hospital and whatever agency's time tracking system. And then there might even
Mhm.
be a third one that you have to do, which it blows. We get it. We hate it too. We're trying to work on it, but we can't enter your time because you hate it. Like there's so many other travelers that do that as well. So like you have to enter your time, and please enter your time on time because then it
Yeah.
causes billing issues and it's a whole thing.
I
I mean,
love that that was, like, so specific. I feel like I was really bad at entering my time, so,
were
like,
you?
low key, you might be talking about me.
No, I don't
I
remember you
think
being
I
bad at it.
actually do think I was. There was one hospital I worked at, but it was before you, and they made us find so you had to, like, clock in and out, but you also had to fill out a physical timesheet and then have the charge nurse sign it. So it's like, "Oh my god, if I finish report early and then I'd have to stand outside the office and wait for the charge nurse to finish report and then get my paper signed," and it was like,
Such a pain.
"How many travel nurses have you placed?"
I don't know. 1,000, well over 1,000. During COVID, I think I had up to like 120 at any given time. So
Yeah.
there was a lot, averaging around like 50, 55, like at any given time. I'm slower right now. The market's not great.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't include the people that might have had to cancel their contract or they got it canceled or they backed out.
Mhm.
Man, I can't even imagine how many. I really wonder how many people I've actually like physically worked with and talked to, and
Mhm.
thousands and thousands.
How many travel nurses have you placed that have made you want to quit being a recruiter?
Probably a handful. There was one guy, oh my God. So this particular person was very difficult to work with. Expected me to respond right away and made me feel nervous. Like I didn't like the feeling that I got working with him. And normally I just, ask someone else like, "Hey, we aren't driving the best, whatever, whatever." But the thing is like we got along very well on the phone. Anyways, I tried really hard. I placed him. He canceled his own contract, wanted me to look for something else right away. I found him something. He completed that contract and then wanted me to find another one. And I tried so hard, like so hard, got him placed. And then it was the Friday before he was supposed to start. He called me and told me that he found another job with another company that was paying more. Mind you, this job was paying well over 3K. It was paying a lot of money.
Oh.
I called my husband and I was bawling. It was just one of those weeks where it's just like nothing went right. And if someone backs out or cancels or gets terminated from a contract, it's like it comes in threes. So if one person does it, like it's hitting you. It's like a gut punch. And he did it and I bawled
Mhm.
my eyes out. And my husband, bless his heart, love him so much. He was at Home Depot and brought me this flower. It's like a cactus and I still have it. And it reminds me of how
Oh.
bad this traveler, and that happens a lot, but for some reason with him it hit at the
Yeah.
right time and I spent so much of my time on the phone with him building that relationship. It was just like
So frustrating.
so frustrating, and it's just one of those things that I still have a little cactus to remind me, and it's really big now.
I feel like I could never imagine treating a recruiter like that because I think that I would say a lot of travel nurses don't think of recruiters as like human in
Right.
a way. Like, so I think That's really shitty. Okay.
It's really shitty.
I have one wrap-up question.
Okay.
Today, right this second, if somebody were to pay you $10,000 a week to go work as a travel nurse somewhere, what hospital or what state would you say, absolutely not? I don't need the money. It's that bad. You can't say Florida. No, you
Okay.
can't say Florida.
Georgia. Like, it's just,
Okay,
they're
that's fair.
so busy, it's not paying enough, in my opinion.
That's fair. Okay, thank you so much for coming on. That was so fun. Like, I already want to do it again. So,
Yes.
if anybody wants to connect with Jess, she's seriously the best recruiter. So, I'm going to leave a link in the podcast show notes. And is there anything else, Jess, that you want people to know about you or to add?
You can also find me on Instagram, that one Fusion Recruiter.
Yes.
I'm not very good at Instagram, but I'm trying really
Perfect.
hard. But feel free to reach out to me on there. I am ready to help people out right now. So I'm a little bit slower and I'm ready to go.
She's the best. She really is the best recruiter. I'm not just saying that. So,
Thank you.
thanks so much for tuning in to Clocked Out, Life Beyond the Bedside. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow nurse who needs to hear it. For more on thriving beyond the bedside, make sure to follow along on Instagram and check out Passports and Preemies, where we talk travel, wellness, and building a life that works for you.